And how much have you learned so far, just in a couple of days?
Yeah, it's been great. Being around them just as people, you know, in the pre-spring ball phase is part of the relationship building process and getting to know them. But as football players, once you start playing football, that's the beauty of spring ball, and that's what I've, you know, this week with the start of practice, been able to get to know these guys better as football players, and it's been great.
Brett has said that this outside linebacker room is maybe the most talented individual room he's had, at least at that position. What stands out about them? What do you have you learned about them?
Yeah, first of all, these guys are they're wired the right way. They have really alpha mindsets, and I think that's a prerequisite for the position. They all bring that to the table, and they're talented guys. You know, within each guy's skill set, there's differences. Seth Coleman is kind of a long, flexible, you know, twitchy guy. Gabe is a little bit more of a powerfully built player. You know, so those are some differences right there. But when that mentality meets the skill sets that they have, that makes for a special group, and that's where they're at right now.
What's it like to be a coach a group that's not just all cookie cutter? These guys are all the exact same skill set, build, etc. Just to have a lot of versatile pieces.
Yeah, it's great. As a coach, that's the fun part. You know, to have versatility. As you said, you know, that's also the challenge too. You need to identify what your guys do, what they don't do well. Some guys are different, and it's your job as a coach to figure out ways to maximize their strengths and weaknesses and apply techniques to their game in general. You know, there's an identity we want to have, and there's a way we want to play. So everybody has to do some level of you know, uniformly. We need to do some things as a group, but then individually, guys need to maximize what they do best, and that's my job as a coach to identify that and help them with that. So that part's fun.
What's it been like for you to get acclimated here? You've been here a couple months now. What's it been like?
Yeah, it's been good. My family's finally here now. For a while, it was just me in the Hyatt downtown, you know, which is great accommodations. But, you know, once your family is around you and I'm around them, it's a game changer. They got in last week, moved into the house. We got some boxes everywhere, but we're working through them. Mainly my wife and family, but it's been good. You know, the people are great here, Midwest guy, so to be back around those people, the people in this building, which I knew, you know, when I had a feel for that on my interview, so I kind of knew that coming into it, but it's just great to be back in the Midwest. That helps any type of transition.
How did you mentally approach the guys in your room and what you wanted to bring to this defense? Did you watch film? Did you want a preconceived notion of the dudes before you got them, or what was your process?
No, I definitely watched film. I wanted to assess, you know, who they were as players and their skill sets. And you know, you saw the talent right away on film, so that was good for me to see what I'd be working with. You know, that underlying skill set that they all had. So definitely wanted to know what I was getting into that way. And then from my standpoint, you know, I just felt good about bringing some techniques to those guys. And the cool part about the production that I had been around the last couple of years in the NFL was that there were a lot of different body types that had success. So I felt good about bringing some of those techniques here and knowing that in some way, at least some of them could apply to each guy here, even though they had differences in their ability. But no, I was watching those guys on tape and seeing how productive they were, the good years they had, but kind of just how they played. That was really exciting about coming here in the first place. So I was definitely excited to start working with all of them.
The history of your position here,
yeah.
How much did you talk to the guys about that? All the players, and how much of it did you know?
A little bit. You know, just from kind of being a casual fan of football and an Illinois person, I've been aware of it from that standpoint, going back to Simeon Rice, right. Kevin Hardy. You know, I knew those guys growing up, but even in my time in the NFL, just being aware of Whitney Merciless and what he did. So a little bit familiar, and we haven't talked a ton about it, but we've just talked about the history of, you know, good defense here, and especially in recent years, but also historically the value of rushers in a 3-4 defense. We've talked a lot about that, and in this scheme, it is a 3-4, it's aggressive, and there's a premium on rushing the quarterback, disrupting the quarterback, and covering guys in the back end. And, you know, as evident by the DBs who are getting ready to take the next step and go to the NFL, I think you see that. Those guys had production, and the other part of that is the pass rush, and we have some veteran guys coming back, so we need to lead the way in this scheme moving forward.
This way Rice played, does that always work? You know, was his style, his You know, does that always translate?
Say that one more
The
time.
way Rice played when he was here,
Oh.
does that always, that kind of style work?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
universal.
He was long and a freak athlete, you know, and played hard. So that always has an optimal chance for success. Yes.
Charlie, I know we've talked a lot about Gabe and Seth, but what have you seen from Jared, Alec, and I think Trey is on campus as well?
Yeah, so I'll start with Alec. He's been on the field a little bit more. Alec is a football player. He has very good instincts, very good reactions. He approaches blocks well, and he reacts to blocks well, and he's a pretty aware pass rusher. His physical traits may look different than Seth and Gabe, but he is just a football player. And you can never have enough of those guys on a roster. He also shares that alpha mentality that the other guys do. Trey and Jared are younger. Jared's been here a year. Trey just got here. Both of those guys are extremely athletic. I think they're young. They're still adding bulk to their frame that'll help them in time. But they're athletes. They're smart. They can pick the scheme up. So as they're building and adding those physical things that come with age and development, they have an underlying athletic ability and just, you know, intelligence that'll help them maximize as they go.
I know every skill set's different, but if you left spring ball and said, I got my guys to do X thing, what would that be? What would feel accomplished there?
Just attacking off the ball at all times, on all downs, just rolling off the ball and being disruptive on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
I mean, your group works in concert a lot, obviously, with the defensive linemen. What kind of synergy have you seen maybe between those guys? Even if it's not very deep in the spring.
Yeah, no, really good. I mean, like, the start of any relationship is just a connection and bond, and even going back to winter conditioning, the energy that those guys have and share. You talk about alpha personalities, you know, Keith Randolph and Johnny, they fit that bill for sure as well. So you add those guys with the guys we have on the edge, it's been really good already. And as we've started spring ball, it's been good, and it'll, you know, that energy and synergy, as you said, will remain, I would assume, through the rest of spring ball and be a big part of carrying us into fall camp and the season.